Controllers in
MVC.
ASP.NET or MVC, right? It is a class which contain different methods executed as a middleware component. You all know what is middleware, right?
Yes.
What is middleware? A piece of request will come to routing, which internally calls the context object. Or you got my point? So controller also a class. How to create a controller? Let's go and create a small project first. File, new project. ASP.NET Core, sample MVC controller. There you go. Next. And disable the configuration of HTTPS create. What will happen? A program.cs file which contains a web application builder and run method. Am I right? To create a complete empty project, you will have web application builder. Right? You see here. You see, I got a program.cs file.
Yes, sir.
Which has a create builder method, build method. I have a map get, I have app run. Now I am going to create a controller. First, you need to create a controller class. What is your point? Second point, to create controller, we can use both controller class or normal class. Okay, today I'm going to treat you normal class. Normal class, we are going to make it as controller, right? I'm not going to use the controller class, which is a template. Controller class template. Controller class template. But I'm not going to use the controller class template. I'm going to use a normal class. What I will do, in the Solution Explorer, right click. Always a best practice to create a folder. New folder, say controller. Say here, controllers. I created a folder name called controller. And then right click, add new item. If you click new item, you are seeing controllers. But I'm not going to use this. I'm going to use a common class. I'm going to use a common class. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to remove this, right click, add new item. I'm going to add a new item as class. What is my class name here? I always use home home controller class. I'm always use home controller class. You got my point? So what is my class name here? Class name will be named as purpose plus controller. It's a best practice. Always you have to denote your class name as name of the purpose and controller. For example, I want to call a home controller. So what I'm going to do? I created a home controller under which my class has n number of methods. Will you all agree? Public, string, I can say index, which returns home controller index method. Home controller index method. Right? Now build the project. It is a general class which will not act as a controller. Or you got my point? It is a general class which will not act as a controller. Now what I want to do? I want to make this class as act as a controller. You need to add an attribute called controller. Got my point? You need to add an attribute called controller. The moment you add an attribute called controller, what is the namespace has been included here? Microsoft dot ASP.NET Core dot MVC. Or you got my point? So if you remove this, simply go and see here. You go here, controller, where it is coming from the namespace, Microsoft dot ASP.NET Core dot MVC. Immediately what happened? A namespace has been included on the top. Now, this normal class will become a controller. This normal class will become a controller. Now, if you see here, this normal class will be inherited by controller by including an attribute. So what you need to do? Fifth point, I am creating a, we are creating a class as home controller in which we are adding a attribute. Always denote this like this. Attribute as a controller class which had been derived from Microsoft dot ASP.NET Core dot MVC. Or you got my point? From where this class has been derived? This controller class. This controller class derived by
Microsoft
the namespace
ASP.NET Core dot MVC.
Microsoft dot ASP.NET Core MVC. Now this class will be act as a controller. Sir, to call this controller class in program.cs file, I need to register this class as a service. How I'm going to do that? How to register a service here? How to register a service? We already learned. Builder dot services dot add transient. Remember this one? Builder dot services dot add transient home controller. Because this is the middleware I am registering as a service. Any middleware you create, you are going to register as a service. We learned that or not? The routing. The routing, we created a custom middleware. Do you remember?
Yes,
Guys,
sir.
please say yes or no.
Yes, sir. Yes.
In that middleware, custom middleware, you are registered as a service.
Yeah.
Similar way, you are going to register your home controller as a service. And then you are going to make here, instead of app get app dot map controller. App dot map controllers. Whenever you create n number of controllers, you have to use app dot map controller. Before you make that app dot map controller map method, what you need to do? You have to create a routing. App dot use routing. Clear my point?
Yeah.
So what I am planning to do, I am registering as a service in the builder method. After registering that, I'm going to build the method. Once I build the method, I'm going to make a routing in which I'm going to map my controller. What is the purpose of map controller? In the project, anything you declared as a controller.cs, that will be considered as a controller class. Today I have a home controller. Tomorrow I have a about controller. Tomorrow, day after tomorrow, I have a contact us controller. Like that, I can create n number of controllers. I got my point. So that is the reason I'm using program.cs file map controller. So this map controller, right click, go to definition. Anyone can read this? Anyone can read this?
Adds endpoints for controller actions to the Microsoft without specifying any routes. Microsoft ASP not core.
Without any
Specifying any route.
specifying any route. Automatically, it will treat that particular controller as map controller. Am I right or wrong? And what it is returning? It automatically build a controller actions. Now, so to denote this method, what you need to do, you have to use route, say home. You're going to give a route home. You know, right? What is the purpose of route? To call this method, this middleware. Index is the middleware under which home controller. How to enable this particular middleware? By using route attribute. I got my point. Now, what is next point? To enable a method act as the middleware component, we need to use a route attribute. We need to use a route attribute with the specified name. Got it? Chaitanya, Nitin, Preeti?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now, I'm putting a breakpoint here. Run this in IAS Express. Try to run. This will not detect for the first time. It will throw error. You say it will throw error. Page not found. See, map controllers having problem. So here, you cannot add the controller like this. You have to use add controllers, so that it will identify all the controller class as a service. If you use map controllers, you have to use add controllers. Now run it. See, the localhost cannot be found. If we use /home, enter, now where it is calling, automatically it detected the home.
Yeah.
Now home controller index method. That's all. Sir, how do I need to configure the default? You can add a route for this index method as a default. How you can write? You can add a one more route, say /. That's all. Automatically it will take as a index. Now you see. See, it is detected or not?
Yes, sir.
So can I configure single method with n number of routes? Yes, you can do that. Single middleware containing method will be detected by n number of routes. If I pass localhost, it will work. If I pass home also, it will work. If you remove home and try to execute, it will work. Now, I enabled my controller in my ASP.NET MVC code. No issues at all. Am I right? Chaitanya?
Yes, sir.
Now, what is the next point? So what is the point I need to add? To enable middleware component, we need to use a route attribute with specified name. We can add n number of route attribute in a single method. That is the another point. N number of route attribute in a single method. That is the another point. Am I right or wrong?
Yes, sir.
Or you got my point? See, the point here is these are all same things. To register a custom controller class in the builder method under program.cs file code snippet. What is my code snippet? You have to use this. To register a custom control class builder method as a service under program.cs file. After registering that, what do you need to do? After registering that, what do you need to do? You need to use, we need to enable routing for the controller class. We need to use app dot routing method. App dot use routing method as a middleware. App dot use routing method as a middleware registration. Middleware registration. That is the another point you have to do. After that, you have to do one more point. Now you made the routing, but which endpoint to map with which method, that will be used by use map endpoints or use map controller. Am I right or wrong?
Yeah.
See, the controller has n number of methods. Method 1, method 2, method 3. How we are going to denote this particular URL will map with this method? Only with the help of map endpoints. Or you got my point? To configure endpoints. Endpoints in a project. In a project, we need to use project containing controller class. Project containing controller class. We need to use app dot map controllers. You are going to map all your controllers. This is what you are doing. App dot map controllers. Am I right or wrong?
Yeah.
After mapping only, all your registration will happen. Okay. So this is the main reason I can do. Sir, can I have n number of method in the same controller class? That is the second point. So what I'm going to do? Public string. Public string. I can say about. I can say about. Here I'm going to use return about home controller. Home controller about method. Home controller about method. Here I'm going to use a route. Simply say about. I'm not doing anything because this controller class already registered. Only I'm going to write a method. I define the route. You can include n number of methods. You can have 20 method, 30 method. Every method will concatenated with the route. Every method will concatenated with the route. Now save this, run it. Now index is working. I can say about is also invoked. Tomorrow, if I want to add a contact, what I will do? Public string contact. Okay, here I'm going to say return contact method. On top of that, I'm going to use route contact hyphen yes. Your method name is contact, but your route name is contact us. I got my point. This attribute of route automatically detect this method because you denoted as contact us. Now see the logic. Don't make yourself confused. Simple thing. All you need to understand is how to build it. It is one of the easiest way to learn MVC. Now, here I'm going to say contact -s. Now, see, contact method is directed. Contact method directed or not?
Yes, sir.
That's all. This is how you have to configure a single controller class with multiple methods. These methods are called as action methods. These methods are called as 11th point. Controller class containing methods are called as action methods. Clear my point? Anything you write within a controller class as a method, those methods should configure as a route, which will help you to treat as a method. Now, sir, I want to configure a parameter here. How to configure the parameter? /phone :int. Do you remember we configured the route like this? Chaitanya?
Yes, sir. All it takes the integer type.
Okay. Now what I'm planning to do, when you run it, if I pass controller, I need to pass UC. Index method is called. Now what I'm planning to do, contact us /Narendra. It will not work. Whereas if I pass 1, 2, 3, wait, oh, sorry. I have to use within a brace. Sorry, guys. Parameter should be under curly braces, right? Contact us /. It will not load. Why? Because I'm passing Narendra. Narendra is a string. But what it is expecting? Integer. See? I got the method.
Yeah.
And I want to pass only 5 characters of phone number. What I will do? I will use regex cap and I want to do what? Ampersand, right? How to denote the regex? I forget. /d. Sorry. /d. 10.
Something like this way, sir. I've just put in the chat.
Okay, sorry. How to use cap we can use in C#. 1 second. I'll take my old project. There you go. I will teach this one later. Tomorrow I can teach. I don't want to take a risk. Okay.
Yeah. Brackets, close it. Outside the quotes, no?
No, inside the quotes.
So close the bracket. Square bracket as well.
Okay. So like that, you can create another controller also. Okay.
Okay.
So tomorrow I can tell you how to create another controller for the same process to configure. Okay.
Okay.
Anybody have any issues?
No, sir.
Preeti? Nathan?
No, sir.
Okay then. We'll meet tomorrow. Thank you guys.